So BASF is a huge company with more than 100,000 employees all around the world. We are present in almost all business processes. We are with about 250 production sites in almost 100 countries present. Yeah, so an amazing company with brilliant past and very successful present, caring with society and with environment and very employee oriented. I'm an example of that. The company gave me and my family to go around and to get to know other cultures and countries. So I'm really proud to work for this company. On the other hand, we are talking about a very, very big company. And big companies are normally very traditional and somehow over-regulated. And it is very, very challenging to introduce changes. And does it fit for the future? So we are talking about, or you are hearing words like focus, transformation, flexibility, agility, and with so a traditional and over-regulated company, can you do it? So quite a bit of challenge, as you can imagine. And this challenge is much bigger if you are talking about Ludwigshafen. What you see here in the picture is our biggest production site in the world. Yeah, it is about 30,000 employees, about 800 production lines. So a huge production site. Yeah, we introduced Kanban. Tarragona is a BASF site too, much smaller than here in Ludwigshafen. We are talking about 1,000 employees or 1,500. And as you see here in the slide, we were able to move in a couple of years all our main indicators in the right direction. Yeah, so really, it was not difficult for me to think, okay, if we want to succeed, then let's go this way. From my point of view, before we begin and we step a little bit deeper in the process, three, let's say, main key things if we want to be successful in the implementation of Kanban. The first one is you need a sense of urgency. Yeah, so in Tarragona, we took our production process, so very central. Here in the Tamol plant, we decided to go for our management of change when we are deciding to change something in our units, in our plants. The second one for me is to have some quick wins. So something you can show, let's say, to your employees, to your bosses, if you want, yeah, that they are motivated, yeah, and they are supporting, let's say, this engagement. Yeah, so here you have to visualize, you have to improve your teamwork. And I think these are things that really at the beginning are coming up if you are introducing this kind of organization or, let's say, process orientation. And the third one, and from my point of view, the most important one, is you need a strong leadership. Yeah, so because you will face challenges. You will ask yourself, it is the right way. You will not collect your very best results in the first couple of months. Your team will ask you, okay, are you really convinced about that? Yeah, so you have to remain strong and to be very, very, let's say, focused in the future and to have this endurance, which is necessary to go on with the process.
So what was the time before our Kanban? We used maybe as quite a lot of teams, at least at BASF, the one Excel sheet to realize or to organize ourselves, to have an overview, what are the tasks which are open, what we have done already, what do I need to perform. And as you can see, it might be already quite complicated. And also you see quite easy that there are some white lines. The white lines are often that ones because we could not really get everybody involved by using the Excel sheet. And that is always a thing. Then you have missing figures, and also it's not really showing the real tools, the real effort you have in the plant. So we have actually one overview board. That's really describes the whole process. At the left side, you can see, of course, it's written in German, but on the left side, you can see it's more the conceptual phase with the prioritization. Then we have a basic engineering planning. We have an approval process. Then we have a detailed planning. We have some element where we can find or schedule the plant modification. So when, at which time, during which plant shutdown, for example, we would like to implement it. And then on the right hand side from the gray row, you can see it's construction fields, so that construction coordinators with the regarding companies perform the work and plan their work, and then afterwards it goes over the testing and startup, and then also the documentation. And last but not least is then to have a short review if everything was performed as we planned to. So this really shows an overview of each single plant modification, how it runs through the whole process. And all this small dots in the overview, that is actually one child card, and the child card goes in the team boards. So we had actually different team boards. We had a team board for engineering, for asset management, for construction, and also for the process management. So what is the aim of this? The aim of this is that you really have an overview for your team. What is all the work you have to do in your team? So as you can imagine, and as I explained, we have now this Kanban board for the plant modification, but we have also bigger projects. So what we also did is that we showed the projects in that board, in our team board. Also in our team board, you have some work which has nothing to do with plant modification. Maybe you check some documentation, you perform some calculation of safety valves, not really knowing if it will be a plant modification afterwards. So, but it's still work which has not been seen in the past. And this is now the goal with the team board, that you can show everything what the team is doing, so that you have a realistic overview about the capacity and the workload the team has. And that is the reason why we have different team boards, to really allow everybody to have their own team view, and also to have a more detailed view. So of course, if we have, for example, a look at the detailed engineering part, we have a lot of different steps again, which would be too complicated to show them on the overview board, because it's really more, let's say, management board. And this one really describes then all the detailed process, all the different tasks we have to perform in the detailed engineering process. So that's the team boards is about. So, and here I will show you some charts from our process. So we started around, I think it was February with the go live. And what you can see here now is the work in progress. So it means how many plant modification we do in parallel. So they are all really performing and in work, not finished. So, and you can see we started with around 140, even a little bit more, 150, something like this, plant modification. And around March or April was it, that was the time where we implemented the work in progress limit. So we set ourselves a limit where we said, okay, it's much easier for the whole process, and if we have a certain limit and don't implement too many plant modification in parallel. So how did we set up this limit? Actually, we could see in other charts I will show you later on that it took for us about 30 months until we really finished most of the plant modifications. So that was the time and one of our goals which we wanted to achieve to reduce. And to be able to do that, it's actually the goal then to reduce the work in progress accordingly. So our goal was to halve the cycle time, so to reduce it down to 15 months, and therefore we choose a work in progress limit of 64. So the following from March until January, February was really get rid of all of the oil plant modification, and then afterwards we really get down to the limit of 64. So that means that at that time really no plant modification entered the system, and that is another point Joseph mentioned already. That is really the time where you need to be strong and to explain the people, and also that it is not good for us if we start again following the old path and take again new plant modification. We stay strong, we take first the old things, because they don't get faster if we start already earlier. And that was really a tough time, I would say, for the management to stick to this limit and get down to it. And currently you can see it's really a flat curve, so we stick to the limit, and even we are slightly below our limit of 64 for quite a time now. So if you go maybe to the next slide, and here you can see the throughput of plant modification. So how many plant modification we finish per month. And one thing you also recognize here is our normal situation that we have plant shutdowns where we are able to install quite a lot of plant modifications, and during the plant shutdowns it's limited to only a few ones. So that is always the high peak you can see. Interesting is, but it's also the last high peak, because that was really the highest one we had ever, because that is because we really concentrated on get things finished. So still all plant modification we had in the system, which were not that strongly pushed in the past, but now really got the focus, because we have a strong focus now to really get things first done before we start new things. And that allows the team really to have this high peak at the beginning. And also on the average curve, the green one, you can see that we raise our throughput from the beginning or from the time of Kanban and a tiny bit before as well. So this is also a good path which you could see with Kanban. And if you go maybe to the next slide, and here you can see the cycle time scatter plot. That is also an interesting part, because now you can see the plant modification which we have finished and how long did they stick in the system. And one goal is of course to be reliable. So to really have a graph and the average, so it's the green part is the average, that it really gets down again. Because if you have a high deviation between the cycle times, so a short cycle times, and really old or plant modification which have a really long cycle time, that makes you unpredictable. And if you are able to push this together, and what you see now is that from the left side you see, let's say, like a triangle. That is the time when we started with the Kanban, or let's say that's the data which we put into the Kanban system from the oil plant modification. So our task was to get rid of the old ones, and that from the time we started, that's why you have this triangle stage. And what you can see already a little bit on the right hand side is that you have another triangle, or that the amount of oil plant modification gets down, because we really focused on getting rid of all of the old plant modification. And if you even would go on the charts with showing just the team boards, then you can see this effort already much clearer. But it's still, I mean, you can see the average of 50%. It's still 7 months of a cycle time for a plant modification. So 50% would be faster than 7 months, but 50% would be also longer than 50 months. That is how you read it. And if you go now maybe to the next slide, this was also a plus, because once we created the process, and as I explained already, we didn't change in the first place so much, but we explained the process a lot with the people, and the people worked with the process, so they really could realize how important it is to reduce rework. So what do I mean with rework? If we, from an engineering point of view, make mistakes in our documentation, the guys who will really feel the strong pain in the ass are the guys from the construction side. And that is why we would like to reduce this rework and really to try to get better. And that is why we also focus on that. And right from the beginning, we started already in implementing this, that once the construction guys see a mistake in our documentation, they are allowed now to put it just back in our Kanban board, really on the highest priority, and say, you need to work on it, because otherwise I'm not able to perform my work. And here you can see the graph of how many reworks we had per day. And of course, sometimes it takes some time, some while until you really can finish, because you depend on other guys, some expert centers, or you need to order some parts until you really can finish it. But what you can see on the right hand side is that we really get down a little bit with this rework, and that is also a feedback from the construction guys, that they are really happy about it, that they have a strong feeling that we deal and take care about their needs now.
So sorry, but I love pictures to let's say show moods, or let's say how we are feeling, and that it's how I'm feeling now. Yeah, let's say so. I know straight on there is a wonderful place with amazing sites. I know it. Yeah, and part of the team did the first part of the journey with us. Yeah, and so okay, it makes sense. Yeah, so the path is sometimes challenging and hard, but at the same time it is rewarding and exciting. Yeah, but part of the team do not know nothing. Yeah, so about what is coming next. Yeah, and they fear this fog and what it's hiding. So what are we doing now? Yeah, so now we want to step in our end-to-end process. Yeah, so this let's say plan modification is a support topic for us. Yeah, so and now we decided, okay, let's get rid from our production chain, and let's focus from the very beginning. So when we are, let's say, ordering our raw materials and the supplying, so going through other production and so support processes to our delivery to the customers. Yeah, let's take it as an all. Yeah, and let's get new people on board. So how are you doing it? We are going to make another bootcamp together with Subject. Yeah, so and bringing these new colleagues on board. Yeah, they are not really new in the processes, because some of them have already worked in these plant or management of change processes, let's say. Yeah, but they were not in the first bootcamp. So then somehow some of the knowledge and this engagement is missing a little bit. Yeah, so then we are organizing again a bootcamp for them, and we will work on this end-to-end process. And why are we doing it? So because we are convinced that Kanban is our way. Yeah, that we have reached this level 2 maturity in a short period of time. From our point of view, we have to consolidate it, and while bringing these new people on board, perhaps we will have to work again on them, and we want to go for 3. Yeah, so then it is somehow how we are focusing it, and I am quite confident that we will succeed. And I am very happy to have Shubiate on our side there, because they are amazing in our support to us.